Hello and welcome to another episode of The Long Finish. I'm your host, Tug Coker, and I'm here as always with my wife and co-host, Kathryn Weil Coker. How you doing tonight, Kathryn?
I'm so good. So happy to be here drinking wine with you.
We are drinking wine here. 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. All for the love of the pod.
It really is. We are entering a new frontier. It took us a while to get going tonight, but we're here. This is us.
Folks, we have so much detail to talk to you about this as we try to venture into video. For those listening on the podcast, we are trying to dabble into more video to post stuff on YouTube, and we are not good at that stuff.
It's like when you call, like you're making a reservation on the airline, they're like, hold on a minute, my system is, and they describe what's going on with their system. You're like, I'm really bored. I just get to the point. I want to make my reservation. That's what we're going to do to you right now, is explain the technicalities.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you how the sausage was made, and it's really not
so boring.
Delightful sausage, and it's a really boring story.
But here's what's not boring.
What are we drinking tonight, Kathryn?
Champagne. This is not boring. I'm so happy to open this. This is the Laherte Frères Rosé de Meunier, extra Brut Rosé, Champagne, France, non-vintage.
Show the label again.
Delicious bottle of wine.
Now, we talk about the labels all the time and the color of the wine on the podcast. Be sure to go to our YouTube page at The Long Finish. Subscribe to it so you can see the labels, you can see the color of the wine we're talking about, you can see our faces at 10 o'clock at night when we're taping. The circles under our eyes.
No makeup, peeps.
For me either. You know, I don't go out in public without makeup very often, but tonight I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Folks, it's episode 101. We had grand aspirations to open the bottle of champagne on air. We tried it, and I realized I wasn't taping the audio, so...
But now, here we are recording, drinking wine.
And we are going to enjoy this
every
bottle of wine.
sip.
So, the theme of tonight, for those of you who are just joining us maybe for the first time, The Long Finish, Kathryn and I are married. Kathryn, we both own and operate Esters Wine Shop and Bar. Kathryn does it more now than I do. But we started 8 years ago almost.
Wow, yeah.
Opening Esters. And a few years ago we decided to start a podcast where we could talk about what it's like to be married and working together. But also we just want to celebrate wines and hosting and hospitality and tell you some great things to go get for your parties. Summer's coming up, so hopefully we can introduce you to some new wines. And
this is how we hang out.
Yeah.
We hang out over a bottle of wine.
Chance for us to yeah, exactly. We have no time to do otherwise.
We're unwinding, and I don't know. There's something about the conversations that you have over wine that are special. And it's also transporting us to a new place, a different time, different people. That's what's so fun.
We need to be transported too. We have 3 kids.
I really do. I don't want to hear any more "Mom" from upstairs, which we were.
In our previous taping that I botched, thankfully, a kid was screaming down at us. I think he was in a bad dream. We got 3 boys, as our listeners know, 7 now.
Yeah.
We had a birthday last week. Let me tell you about my life, folks. Tax season comes, April 15th. Got to pay the man. Then I have 2 birthdays. Kathryn and our youngest son, who's now 2, they share a birthday on April 29th. 1 week later, our oldest son, who's now 7, he has his birthday, and then it's Mother's Day. It's quite the run for me. I have to work all year, basically, for this 2-week run. But there's a reason I'm bringing this up, is because, Mother's Day is a reason to celebrate. It's a culmination of this 2-week run for us.
And you can't let it drop.
I will not let it drop for you.
So this is a little taste. This is not our full Mother's Day, but we're just dabbling tonight and telling you something great you can get for the moms in your family, or the moms that you live near or live with, and people that love rosé champagne. This is the one. I picked this tonight because if I didn't know anything about wine and I wanted to pick a bottle, I would so choose this. It has a gorgeous label with flowers on it, pink and purple and kind of white flowers. and like the white writing over, and then it's a gorgeous deep kind of magenta-y pink, so dark and pretty. I would just be like, I want to get that. And traditionally, a lot, or historically at Esters, we have sold a lot of rosé sparkling around Mother's Day and in the springtime in general. Moms like it. Everybody likes rosé sparkling wine, right?
Rosé has had such a moment, obviously, for like the last 10 years or so. How has sparkling rosé piggybacked on that, or has it always been popular? Any thoughts on the sparkling rosé movement?
I don't know. To be honest, I feel like rosé champagne wasn't really part of that movement in the same way. People don't ask for rosé champagne. They ask for rosé. Rosé champagne is in a different price point. You know, it's a lot more expensive to make. It's not a porch pounder at 4 p.m. when it's hot out. It's something, this is a wine so enjoyable. It doesn't take, a sommelier to enjoy it. It's just right out the gate, so fruity and fresh and pleasing. But, it's not cheap. So you have to have the right occasion. And I feel like when people are splurging for champagne, rosé champagne is often an afterthought.
A lot of things to celebrate during this time. There's Mother's Day. There's college graduations. We're in wedding season.
Yes.
Maybe engagement season. So, yes, ordinarily we'd kind of look towards more affordable rosés. But if you're in the season of splurging or special moments, this is the one to look to.
This is a time to treat people right. This is a time to treat mom right.
Yeah, treating you right, Mom, and we're also treating ourselves right on a Tuesday night at 10 o'clock because we just put 3 kids down.
Yay.
Yeah, high five. High five to you. We'll get more into the wine and the wine makers of this wine in a moment, but Kathryn, can you bring us up to speed on what's going on in your world? Obviously, you just celebrated a birthday. Any thoughts on another year around the sun?
Yeah, I had a birthday. It's a new experience to share the birthday with someone in your house.
Do you want to get into this right now?
No, I don't.
I think we're going to get into this.
Why?
I'll let you go, and then we'll...
Listen, my birthday has always been very important to me, and my brother, growing up, had a birthday the day before mine. So we would often have shared parties or, sometime a family celebration together or separate parties. But I had my day, the 29th, and he has his day, the 28th. Well, now I share the same day with my son. And he's 2, so he doesn't really know it yet. But it's going to be a bigger and bigger deal as birthdays become a bigger deal. And it's already a deal to me. I have to be like, wait, what part of the day is mine? It's kind of all him. So basically my treat for myself this birthday was that I had a nap. That was the extent of my celebration. And the next morning at 8:15, I said, see ya, I'm going to the spa and I'll be back in 4 hours. And that was my birthday.
And for our, listeners out there and viewers out there, we had a discussion about this because, you've never experienced this. I've never experienced this. The idea of having to make 2 people feel special on the same day. And it's a challenge. And you and I had an open conversation about it. I mean, we may have talked about this on a previous podcast, but the April 29th, your birthday, was also the due date of our youngest son. And you kind of said, oh no, please, any day but that. And your doctor said, well, it's only a 5% hit rate to hit, for the baby to
I figured that would
delivered.
never happen. The
Exactly.
other kids were a week early, almost 2 weeks early. And of course, then it happened. The one thing that's different is that I have friends from over the years who text me, call me, send me cards. And that, there's nothing like that. Your family and your friends that are far away sending you a kind message, and I don't know. That was like, in addition to my nap and seeing our child so happy, eating mouthfuls of cupcake, that was good.
I will say it's a work in progress for all of us, especially for me. I'm now going to give you both your own individual days. It's something I'm having to learn. But anyway, that's just a little window into what is an amazing day in our family's life. But it's also sort of a thing that we're working on because you want to make everyone feel special.
Yes, and then the very next weekend, it's our oldest son's birthday. So really, we also have to work on the middle son and you, because the two of you kind of get nothing in this span of days. So, I don't know. The 4-year-old, I think, is just, he's over it.
There's two types of people in this world. Maybe there's more, but to make it absolute, like people who don't care about their birthday very much, which is me. People care about their birthday very much, which is you.
Well, maybe this is a teaching moment for me to learn to get into your camp.
And a teaching moment for me to honor it more. So anyway, I should say.
Here we go.
Because we're on YouTube now, on video, people can see your face and you look great. Even though you're a year older, you look awesome.
Thank you.
And that's really been, I'm very happy to drink this champagne because I'm out of 3 major events of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We've
still got
succeeded.
One more
coming up. It's Mother's Day. And that brings us to the wine. So let's talk about this wine. Let's reintroduce this wine one more time. Let's show the wine to our viewers. And let's talk about who makes this wine and why it's so much fun and so special.
So special. This is the Laherte Frères. So literally that means Laherte brothers. Rosé de Meunier. It's the Rosé of Meunier. Pinot Meunier is the grape variety. Extra Brut, so that means it's very dry on the dry scale. This has only 2.5 grams per liter of residual, of dosage. And it's from Champagne. And this is a non-vintage or a blend of vintages. Absolutely delicious. It also has on this back the disgorgement date. So this is the date that was taken off the lees and the crown cap put on, dosage added, and that was November of 2022. So recent disgorgement.
And I just want to say quickly, we spent a bunch of episodes in the first 100 talking about champagne, talking about these terms. So feel free to go back through the Rolodex of our episodes and look for champagne-related episodes to understand the terminology. If you have questions, feel free to hit us up on Instagram at The Long Finish. But we just want to keep moving with the conversation. But we're happy to talk about, because it's so interesting to hear about the champagne styles. Each house is different.
Everyone is really different. And this is a very small grower. Now, I say grower, but I'm going to explain that in just a minute. But they have been making wine, the Laherte family, since like the late 1800s. I want to say 1889. And Aurelian Laherte is now making the wine. He's a young guy. He's very active in Champagne and what's happening there these days. So he's the 7th generation. And I say grower, they started out selling their grapes, in the late 1880s. And then one of the generations, one of the grandfathers switched it over and said, let's make our own wine. And then now, because of the way the Napoleonic Code works, because of the way land is passed down from generations, everyone in the immediate family owns some of the vineyards. So Aurelian, and then his father Thierry, and his mother, and his uncle, they all own vineyards. So they technically, each of the family members sell to one of them. So this is not technically a grower champagne or RM. It is an NM, which is kind of like negociant or a bigger house that buys from other people. It just so happens they all buy from their immediate family, which is kind of a great little story. But they are in this cool little region called Coteau Sud Epernay, which is between the Côte Blanc and Vallée de la Marne, and it's south of Epernay. And this wonderful book I've mentioned so many times on so many podcasts that we've done about champagne is Champagne by Peter Liem, the leading expert on all things champagne. He has a wonderful website. Most of the time, if you're looking up a champagne, you will see like a quote from him. He knows everything. And this book has incredible maps and stories and photographs. It's definitely a keeper and a good reference book for any time.
Would be a Mother's Day gift idea?
That would be so good. I don't endorse Amazon, but you can get it on Amazon pretty quickly if you guys need to
rush it.
Hurry it up and get a bottle of champagne with the book and then listen to our podcast together. I feel like
it's a great idea.
Slam dunk. They're really small. They own 10 hectares, but they have 75 different parcels in all over in 10 different villages. Now, their house, the winery is in Chavaux-Cohort. That's the village that they're in, and they have a bunch of parcels there. But they have a bunch of parcels in other villages. All the parcels that are really close to their home and in the village, they farm biodynamically, and they've been really 100% biodynamic since 2005. Everything else, the other 5 hectares, are organic simply because it takes so much manpower. It takes just meticulous handiwork in the vineyard that they just aren't able to drive and be at those sites as much as the sites right around their place. But they are adamant about natural farming and no pesticides and no chemicals. So love that. This is also, what's special about this is that it's 100% Pinot Meunier. And Pinot Meunier is one of the 3 main grapes of Champagne. You have Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Meunier. Pinot Meunier is usually often the underdog, sometimes skipped altogether. And it's very much the fruity one. Very much the berry and bright one that gives lift and fruit. Now, the Côte de Blanc is really known for Chardonnay. That's a region. The region of Vallée de la Marne is really known for Pinot Noir. And this region that they're in, the Côte Sud d'Épernay, is known for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, but it's a little bit different because the terroir there is really varied. They have chalk, but it's a softer chalk than the Côte de Blanc, and they have a lot of clay. Aurélien Laherte says there are 15 different kinds of terroir in his village alone. The Meunier is just expressive and fruity. What's cool about how they make this, though, is that the Meunier is treated 3 different ways. So 30% of it is Saignée.
It's a trio of Meunier.
It is a trio of Meunier. Would you like some more?
I would love
Meunier?
some. I'm sitting here just listening to you, like.
No.
It's 10:15.
Listen with bubbles.
Yeah, should put that closer to the mic. That's an ASMR. I think I'm saying that right. The acronym. If that's an acronym, I don't even know.
So, 30% is Rosé de Meunier, which means that the Meunier, Pinot Meunier, which is a dark red grape variety, is macerated so that it's crushed and it sits with the skins, and that juice that is sitting with the skins, getting that color, is bled, Saignée to bleed, bled off, and that creates a wine, or it can. And that's 30% of what this is. 60% of what this is Meunier that's direct press. So that's no contact with the skins, just the white, clear juice. And that's more acid, and it's racy, and it gives vibrancy to this wine. And 10% of this is red wine. So it's the juice is fully macerating with the skins. It's spending a lot of time with them, getting all that juicy tannin and structure and color, which is why this is such a deep, beautiful, pinky color, is because that red. And this is true for so much of rosé champagne. It really is some red wine blended with some white wine. That's just true for a lot of rosé champagne. But I think that's neat, the 3 different methods that makes this really special.
That's really interesting. I think all 100% of that is going to be drunk tonight.
Without question.
I thought for sure. This happens all the time. Does it happen at home to the listeners? Like, you just want to open up for a glass and then it's all gone the next thing you know. This wine's delicious. And one thing I want to say is I bet you there's some misguided belief that this rosé champagne might be sweet, but this wine is not sweet.
I think that is misguided. A lot of rosé champagne, to me, try tasting it with your eyes closed and tell me if it's rosé or not. And a lot of times you can't. So much of the time, the color is just more part of the style. And it's so light and delicate. And if you close your eyes, you can't tell that it's rosé. This is different. I feel like there's so much fruitiness and richness to it. I feel like if I closed my eyes, I would feel that like bright berry and orange peel, and that little bit of biscuity character, that richness. I feel like I would know it's rosé champagne. We have done another rosé champagne, the Vincent Couche. I can't remember what episode that was, but another totally different rosé champagne that was as very, very serious, more like wine than even champagne. But oh gosh, this is, yeah, I'm thinking about food now too.
Well, you and I have dreams of going to bed early these days because, as you all know, our kids are just terrible sleepers right now. We're in some really bad sleep regression from every kid. Last night, I saw all 3 kids in the night. Our 2-year-old was in our bed. I slept with the 4-year-old in his bed. And our 7-year-old had a bad dream and came to talk to us about that. So
we have a permanent air mattress in our room that someone is sleeping on every night. It's like musical bed. Who will be sleeping there tonight?
Last night,
an adult or a child.
We did buy a full-size bed last night, a new one.
Now we have another bed.
2-year-old, yep.
We're just going to keep getting more beds.
It's really just going to be
trading
for us,
it around. Yeah.
So it's a real treat for us to be up late at night, but we're drinking something amazing. You talk about food pairings, 2 things that we always do on the show, as you all know. Ask 2 questions. The first one is food pairings for the wine. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but it's just what I'm thinking about right now. I am thinking
Snickers, ice cream.
No. I'm honestly thinking about a creamy polenta with like a rich mushroom on top and kind of a mushroom gravy. This wine is so, like I said, it's kind of got this like berry fruit, orange peel character. It's so bright, but it has this richness and biscuitiness underneath. So pairing with something kind of rich and earthy would be amazing. I could also go duck or some kind of pheasant or some kind of richer dark meat. I feel like that would be great too. We have this cheese. Actually, that cheese in there right now would be so good with this. It's like this, actually, Shayna, our chef at Esters, so sweet. Thank you, Shayna. Gave me this really nice present for my birthday. Way to go for making me feel special. 3 special cheeses from a local cheese shop, and I love cheese. And 2 of them are long gone, but one's still in there, and it's creamy, and it's got like grape leaves on the outside. This would be awesome with that because it's like gooey and funky. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, since, maybe not everyone can access duck or, polenta, we can do it some time, but...
Don't get me wrong. I've never cooked duck, And the only polenta I've ever cooked was like the kind in a tube that you cut off in a in a puck. I'm sorry, Chef Jeremy Fox, but I don't know how to do it.
I fact-checked both of these. This is true. She's never made duck or polenta. So is there anything sort of like, just like let's whip something up? Maybe someone else is up at 10 o'clock at night during the weeknight, wants to have this.
I mean, really, I would just make some kind of like rich garlic butter, creamy garlic butter. No
It's like,
cream.
like a souped up macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, but well, it's just let's see. Let's put garlic, mushroom, olive oil, a little bit of butter, and spaghetti. Sounds good.
Sounds really good. It makes me think of like, I mean, we're not even up that late. We're just old. It's 10:20. It makes me think of like New York nights. Obviously, everyone who's lived in the big cities knows that, sometimes you eat a little later. Blue Ribbon. We've had some great nights at Blue Ribbon. Other places where it's open until 10:30, 11.
But I could totally have a slice of pizza with this. That would be fine. I mean, it's not, let's just not the foo pairing, but it'd be so tasty.
Yeah.
I could also have falafel. I'd be really happy with that. It's a very versatile wine.
Now, I mentioned other cities. Where can our listeners and our viewers find?
You can find this wine. You really can. Laherte Frères. I saw it it's at Esters, so that's your first stop. But I've seen it online at other spots. I know Verve Wine that has locations all over the country. They have like 8 in stock. That's the thing, there's not a ton in stock because it's a small producer.
Well, let me ask you this.
There's definitely a bunch of little shops, Flatiron Wines, little shops in New York that have it too.
Well, let me ask you this. If you can't find this specific wine, how would you recommend our listeners go and find a sparkling rosé for one of the big events for late spring?
Well, rosé champagne is a great choice. You can look to see if it's extra brut or brut. Those are going to be the drier styles. You can also look for Cremant, and those we have sold the heck out of in the past at Esters, and we often have by the glass. And Cremant is just, in France, sparkling wine made in the champagne method, but it's not aged as long on the lees or the dead yeast cells. So it has maybe technically less of that biscuity character, but it's still made in the method of champagne. And there are great Cremants in the Loire, in Burgundy, in Alsace. Now there's also Rosé Cava from Spain, and that is made in the champagne method as well. I'm not getting into Rosé Pet Nats or Rosé Prosecco. Have I had a Rosé Prosecco? Is it a thing? I'm stumped here. I don't know. And probably all my wine friends are texting me, you idiot.
Let us know. The long finish.
Yeah.
Instagram.
You
YouTube.
Idiot. Here's the answer. But I love Rosé Pet Nats. But I think, a few years ago we did these 3 different boxes for moms on Mother's Day, and one was Rosé Champagne. One was very sophisticated but reasonably priced Cremant. And the other was like a funky pet nat for the hip wine mom. And then we had a non-alcoholic rosé sparkling as well, which is great. The Lights Ein, Zwei, Drei Rosé Sparkler from Germany. Also a great choice too for non-alcoholic rosé.
There you go. Well, let me ask you this. Or actually, I don't not ask you, but just a reminder to our listeners about Champagne and the Champagne region. You can only call yourself Champagne if you're grown in the region of Champagne. I feel like that's known by a lot of people, but it always bears repeating.
Champagne is grown in Champagne. Champagne is a region. It's not a grape. It's a region.
So the style of Champagne can travel to other regions, but you can't put the word Champagne on the label unless it's grown in the region of Champagne.
Yes, the method of production can be similar in other regions, but they have different names. cava. And what's special is that the second, this kind of sparkling wine requires 2 fermentations. The second fermentation being in the bottle, not being in the tank or, something else, different vessel. It is in the bottle that you're getting. So that's true for cava, and that's true for Cremant. It's true for Franciacorta in Italy.
No matter how you make this wine, it's over my head to some degree. The wine's delicious.
No, well, the technical stuff. The wine isn't over your head.
No,
the wine is
this is pleasing and wonderful. I love it. So if you're out there looking for something for Mother's Day, look into sparkling rosé.
And really, I'm not getting paid for this advertisement, but this book, this champagne book by Peter Liem, is so gorgeous. And I have this gorgeous box set that my sister-in-law and brother-in-law sent me, Lori and Brian, for Christmas 2 years ago. And it comes with a book, but not only that, all these amazing hand-drawn maps or old-style reproductions of these hand-drawn maps that are just gorgeous. I want to frame them somewhere in that other house that I'm going to have that's dedicated to wine things.
We'll put this book in the show notes as well. Lots of great gift ideas for Mother's Day, for graduation, weddings, engagements. So get into it. It's starting to get a little warmer. It's actually, rainy season may be over in Los Angeles.
I'm here for it. Esters is really here for it.
Yeah, patio life. Here we go. All right, let's get to the last portion of the evening, which is what has been inspiring us this week. I'm going to go first. I don't know if you know this out there in the world, but here in entertainment world of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, other parts of the United States, there is a strike happening. It's the Writers Guild strike. Writers are severely underpaid for the work they do and the amount of money that the studios are making, the streaming enterprises like Netflix and Amazon, etc. So the writers have gone on strike. I am a member of the Writers Guild, so I'm also striking, and I'm inspired this week by all the writers I've met on the picket lines. They encourage you at the Writers Guild to go to picket at the studios that are close to your home. I'm very close to Sony, so I go to Sony to picket, and I've met a lot of great people in the days that I've been picketing. A lot of people from various departments, whether it's features or television, people with different personal stories, people working on different things, a lot of actors. I'm also in SAG, so I see a lot of people wearing their SAG shirts, people wearing their WGA shirts. My thinking is that this probably will go on for some time, but it is full of good energy as we start, inspired by the people that are making these, frankly, sacrifices every day. Everyone wants to work. This isn't us picketing. We want to, be compensated fairly for the things that we create, but we surely don't want to be on the picket lines. We want to be working. So the silver lining is I'm meeting great people. Just wonderful to hear their stories, the things that they're working on, their families. So I'm inspired by all of you, all my writer friends in the Writers Guild, and all my SAG friends out there helping, supporting us. Thank you. Let's hopefully end this and get back to work soon.
Yeah, I'm happy for your connections. I feel like that's got to give people good feelings, but hoping for a swift resolution.
Hear, hear. I will drink to that, Kathryn.
Yeah.
Kathryn, what are you inspired by this week?
Okay, so I am inspired by this, but also it's a call to all of you that are with us about this book called Wine and War, The French, the Nazis, and the Battle for France's Greatest Treasure by Dawn Cloudstrup and Petty Cloudstrup. We are doing this book for our book club at Esters. It's the second Saturday in June. I hope you'll join me in person. We're going to talk about this book. We're going to get into it. We're going to drink wines from the book. It's going to be so fun. I just started reading it, and it is fantastic. I'm not a history buff. I have a lot of trouble remembering facts about things that didn't happen to me. I have no problem remembering facts about wine. But I'm not a big history buff, and so I thought, I don't know about this book, but it's so highly rated. I am so into it. It's fantastic stories, personal stories of people and where wine was in their life, or how it was meaningful, or how it was meaningful, and just what role that played in their memories of these crazy, tragic, and heroic situations in life. So far, so good. Highly recommend, even though I'm only partway into it, and I really wasn't sure if I would love this, but I do, and I can't wait for everyone to come hang out and talk about the book in June.
You talked about in previous episodes about how much fun the first edition of the book club was.
Yeah. Every book club out there, most of them right in the world, have some kind of wine. So ours is just going to be partially about wine and then have some wine. And we're trying to pick books that aren't scholarly. I'm not going to pick this champagne book, even though I want to. I'm not going to pick books that require you to take notes. They should be books that are fun to read, but have wine as part of it. I think what's been interesting, both this book and the last book we read, which was Adventures on the Wine Route by Kermit Lynch, talk about French culture and how wine is so much an identity part of who they are. Just
woven into the fabric.
It is. And that's part of living in a history of aristocracy. Like, we don't have that here. It's very hard for us to understand, but seeing that, it's fascinating. So please read with me.
Yeah, come join Kathryn's book club at Esters. We'll put that book in the show notes as well, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's it. That's it for episode 101. Episode 101 of The Long Finish is in the books. Thank you to everyone for continuing to listen to the show. I just want to take 1 second and say thank you to Kathryn for her patience. I was trying to set this up as an audio and visual podcast tonight. We started taping it the first time, and I realized about 7 minutes in I hadn't taped anything at all. We're taping in our living room. We're trying to make it feel somewhat professional. So check out the YouTube page and see what we're working with, and it'll probably change next time too. So, but thank you to everyone for continuing to listen to the show. If you have a chance to rate, review, and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, or join us and subscribe on YouTube. Hopefully that'll be a thing that we're growing in the future as well. Kathryn, where can they find you and The Long Finish on social media?
Find us on Instagram. I'm at Kathryn Weil Coker, and The Long Finish is at The Long Finish. And the YouTube is The Long Finish.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tug Coker. Want to quickly mention our archive. We have some great interviews from this year. We had Bobby Stuckey for episode 100. That was an amazing interview. Kathryn, do you agree?
Oh, I'm been in awe of him for a long time, so it was a really special moment.
We have Matthew Kaner. We have Tron Carter from No Laying Up. One of our kids is getting up right now, so we're going to get out of here. Thank you to everyone for listening to the show. Until then, be happy, be healthy, and happy drinking.
Ciao.